How's it going, folks? Thought I'd give you guys a bit of a tour of our small urban farm. Tomorrow's Permaculture Day, 3rd of May, so happy Permaculture Day everyone. And I thought I'd give you a look at what's growing on here. I'm doing a PDC at the moment, Permaculture Design Certificate, so we will be retrofitting a couple of the garden beds and just moving things around. Now I've learned so much more than just reading the designer manual by myself. Permaculture is a lot more too, folks, than just, you know, a raised garden bed, a no-dig method with a couple of companion plants thrown in. It's all about harvesting energy and working with nature and trying to become as self-reliant as you can, basically, so you can get to the point where you're harvesting a lot more energy-wise than you're actually putting into the system. You're letting nature do its work. So anyway, I'll stop babbling on and we'll start by having a look at the potatoes behind me here, then we'll move on down the back and I'll show you the beds. And I won't cover the aquaponics too much today because I'll do that in a separate update next week sometime. So here we go, folks, cheers. So these are the spuds I planted out a couple of weeks ago. These top two bags had potatoes I'd saved from a crop we did a little while ago. They're the purple Congos, and I don't know if you can make it out, but we have a couple of little shoots, very small shoots coming out of them. This barrel here is supposed to have some onions planted in it again, but I haven't gotten around to it. And these 5 pouches here, we've had fairly good success rate with these guys. These are the unknown store varieties. I think only the 2 pouches at the back there have only had 1 potato sprout. The rest have all had 2 potato sprouts, so I'm pretty pleased with that. It will be interesting to see if the air pruning effect of these root pouches will come into play and what that effect that has on the yields. Just down here in my little seed raising area, we have some action with these ice cream bean plants. One of them is growing really well. That's the first one to germinate, and this one popped up out of nowhere, so we actually have another one. So we'll have 2 of these for the patch. I think 1 will be enough, so I don't know what will happen with this one yet. And the third one, nothing eventuated from this one. This one actually looked like the healthiest of all of them, but yeah, he's sort of sprouted, then died back, and got another little cream bit emerging, and then died back again, so not too sure. Just some bunching onions down there, and some West Indian lemongrass that was never picked up. So through the gate here, I've had to close the gates because we've got the girls out today. They're out and about. The pawpaws put on a load of flowers, but yeah, we haven't had any more fruit set. I've fed it up, started feeding it up fairly regularly now with the compost tea and that, so hopefully we'll get some more action. I did take out the pigeon pea that was just sitting down there as well. I figured, yeah, as you can see from the stump, it was a fairly sizable plant, so it would have been sucking a lot of nutrient out of the barrel. Down here we have the silver skin garlic. It's coming along rather nicely. Unfortunately, we had some visitors the day after these guys were planted and filmed, and I came out and found a lot of cloves dug out and on their side. I wasn't too impressed, but I think I've lost a couple of cloves from this barrel here. This one and the red Creole was the worst affected, but yeah, this barrel here they didn't really touch, and as you can see, the garlic in here is flying along. Just next to us here we have a new purchase. I bought 40 metres of 50mm rural pipe, so that's what we use to make our shade houses out of. I might play around with that and make something else, maybe a bit of a passive solar heater out of it. We'll just wait and see. It was basically access from a guy's hoop house build. Thank you very much, Dustin. So picked that up. Little grow bed. I'll show you where the other half of this is in a minute. Down here, this is my roll of slotted ag pipe. I've got a couple of projects on the go. I've got this Australian finger lime, another Kaffir lime, great for Thai cooking, and also a dwarf lychee. These guys here are just going to go into some air pruning wicking barrels for now, and once Bianca and I work out what we want to do food-wise, or growing food-wise with the yard, we'll plant them out in situ, or we may even give them away yet. We've got some relatives and friends who would like 1 or 2 of these. The root pouch garden is flying along. This basil's continually hacked back and regrowing. The little pawpaw, there's another little dwarf pawpaw over the back there. He's actually just having a holiday in a root pouch there. He's going out somewhere else. This is Stevie's chocolate habanero, and I'm sorry mate, but she is growing, and I have got a couple of little fruit set, but I think the potting soil that I bought, I was a cheapskate, and put in these root pouches, yeah, isn't doing it justice. So hopefully I'll get a fair few fruit off these guys, and I'll save the season, have another crack. The sage down the bottom here is being covered by these pests. We've been using a fair bit of the sage in different herb mixes and that with the chickens and the potatoes we've been cooking. Not our chickens, by the way. The sweet potatoes I had growing in that pouch there and growing up this trellis here, here. We're eating a lot of the greens in salads. They were supposed to be picked this week, but we had over 130 mil of rain over the last couple of days, so that pouch is going to be very heavy. It's a 45-gallon pouch. So yeah, it's going to be hard to manhandle out of there, so I'm just going to let it dry out again. The tray that collects the water down here is nice and full to the overflowing ports I've got in there, so I'll probably give it a week or so, use up all the moisture, and then I'll pull him out and we'll harvest the spuds, see what they're like, do a bit of a clip on that one I think. Actually, just for Brendan, for Mr. Bacon Soda, this is one of those little carving or tabletop I was telling you about. It was supposed to have glass over the top of it so your drink didn't fall over when it sat on the little indent there. There's two of them. There's one there, there's another dancing man over there, and there was a yin and yang that went in the centre. So that's that little bit of carving I was telling you about. Just down in here, just back out, we have my buckets of coco coir, fish feed and worm castings. A lot of those worm castings are supposed to go into those air pruning barrels. Over here we have some new additions to the patch. Hello Chucky. We have some bananas. I bought these from Blue Sky Backyard Bananas up Tully Way. We have a blue Java and we have a Ducasse banana, so those guys are going to be potted out into some root pouches very soon actually, just to give them somewhere to grow until I've got the position set out that I want for them. So yeah, keep an eye on that, might do a clip on it. Just over here we have our two compost cages. This compost cage here, this is the newest. Most recently was fed up with some pigeon pea trimmings from out the front, as well as some cow manure. Just pull him back. It's also got a whole heap of these guys in there, so pull them out for the chookies. There you go girls. It's actually got quite a few in there. These guys here are similar to the ones we had in the worm casting, so I think what's happened is they've come in with some of the fruit juice scraps that we've put in here and other veggie scraps, so no worms, and it has cooled down a great deal, but as you can see, I'll grab a good handful out, a lot of that manure is already broken down, probably thanks in part to some of these bugs, and yeah, but there's no worm activity yet, so that's probably got to do with it just cooling down recently. Well, 130 mils is going to put the dampener on a lot of compost piles, so I'd say that's pretty much what's happened. So this compost pile's had all sorts of stuff go into it. It's even had a couple of cane toads and a rat go in here, so yeah, it's going to be fairly rich compost once it's finished. I might actually get one of those little corkscrew turners and put that in here and try and turn it a bit, treat it a bit differently to my previous compost piles. Anyway, enough about the compost. Next door we have our moringa tree. It is rather tall now, so it's done rather well in this wicking bed I think. It's got a loofah on it just in there. We've got loofah vine growing up it that sprouted out. That's just a volunteer. And below it we have our brain tomato, which there you go, pretty funky looking tomato. And we're also growing chickens in this bed as well, by the look of it. So this brain tomato, the seeds were gifted to me by a friend on a seed sharing group on Facebook. I actually want to do a bit of a clip on that in the near future, so keep an eye out on that, just about seed sharing. At the back corner we have our yacon, finally starting to put on a bit of growth, and the girls are now scratching my mulch everywhere, so I might have to just rouse them out I think. Down in here, this is the chestnut bed. This is a bit of a failure this year because we had so much grass move in and take over. 90% of the green you can see there is grass. I stopped watering it about a month ago, so all the grass had died back, and guess what? We had all the rain, so now it's all going to grow back again. I think I'm just going to cut my losses, dig it all out and try and harvest as many water chestnuts as I can. Move this bathtub out, something else is going here, and we'll start again next season with a barrel or two I think of water chestnuts next time. Geez, you get around Blackie. And down here we have Kira's carrots. This is all just in a wicking barrel. They're doing rather well, really impressed with them. In fact, I think we'll have a bit of a closer look just down here. Some of them are starting to get decent size, there we are, some of them are getting decent sized bases on them, so it won't be too long before we're harvesting these fellas. Get off my foot please, Chook. Just before we get to the aquaponics, I just thought I'd show you this new barrel. This has got a dwarf lemon in it. It's basically a 30-gallon root pouch sitting on top of some of that slotted ag pipe I showed you before with some weed cloth on it, and the base of it is dipping down into a bit of a sand layer. In the mix in there I've got some potting mix, and I've also got some a lot of that compost. I think I used 1 part potting mix to 4 parts compost, and yeah, it looks to be growing all right. It's just really too early to tell how well it's gone. Next to it, our lemongrass, and over here just the fruit tree bed with a couple of barrels at the end. Lavender's growing really well. This turmeric is starting to die off. It's just very cool sensitive. Down there some mammoth green onions that are going off. Some Taggart's Minuta in the background looking very suspect. Rosemary and some other bits and pieces. The lime's going really well. Down here at the aquaponics through the squidgy ground, that's what 130 millimeters looks like in a grow bed that hasn't been set up. So that's what it's caught. It's on a bit of an angle. Loads of water came in, was collected. The sump tank in the aquaponics is actually overflowing again, even though it was only half full. We got so much rain. Also too, when you consider the surface area around the aquaponics, I mean, it's got 3 grow beds, the tanks, and a couple of barrels over there, so it is collecting, you know, a fair amount of rain. We had some members of the Lockyer Valley Permaculture Group through last weekend, so it was great to show them the system and have a bit of a chinwag about how it all works. Hope I didn't make it sound too complicated, but yeah, it was great to have them out. The rest of the patch, well, I've just got it sort of gated off from the chooks at the moment, so we'll try and sneak in without them. In this top bed here, we've got some honeypod peas. Now, for some reason, some of the plants are dying off. I've got no idea as to why. They just look like they're drying out. I'm at a loss. I pulled the roots out. The roots look fine, but other plants are flourishing. There's some wires set up the back there so the chickens don't hop up and have a scratch around in there. But yeah, it doesn't look like any damage from them. The other turmeric, it's pretty much all dying off like the other barrel out the front there, so we'll be harvesting that when it dries out. In this top bed is pretty much just all brassicas. The first 2 plants are collards, and up the back there we have a row of cauliflower. Really haven't grown as well as I thought they would. They're from our own seed. This one here is a one that I bought from the nursery. I lost a whole heap of seedlings, so that one there is a ring in, and so is that one up there. A bit hard for you to make out, but they're the 2 larger cauliflowers. They were bought smaller than these guys, so don't know what the story is there. Another mystery to me. One day I'll work this gardening gig out. Up the front there we have some broccoli, and I'll walk you along further. There's some more collies along the back there. I figured putting collies along the back there because they take longer, and the broccoli are a continual harvest. So with the cauliflower, take the head off and that's it. Broccoli, you're coming back for more harvests over time, so I thought I'd put them at the front. Got some volunteer tomatoes. Up the back here we have some wombok cabbage, or Chinese drum cabbage. It looks like it's been smashed by caterpillars, but that's actually grasshoppers doing a lot of that damage. In fact, there's 2 of them. Oh, they just jumped off that leaf there. They're doing the majority of the damage in here. Just at the end here we have our garlic, all 5 have shot, so I'm pretty impressed with that. That's the Glen Large. Just in the next section we have a couple of cauliflowers in here with some Chinese red shallots from Muggsy Jeff. Thank you very much, Jeff. Some flat leaf Italian parsley. We've been hoeing through that with a lot of couscous salads. Summertime gold tomato. Still not performing as well as the one in the aquaponics, but you get that. A whole heap of sweet basil we've been mowing through as well. Another tomato, and just a whole heap of marigolds at the back here. Actually, this next bed has got a bit of a showpiece in it. It's got my cherry tomato. I'm trying to grow it to the 4 corners of the hoop house. It is just being suspended by tomato clips at the moment. Whole heap of little fruit on in there, and more tomato clips bringing him out this side. We've got another one taking him up there, and there's another leader, whoops, going through there down that side to the hoop house. So it's just all one plant, just trying to grow him out. I mean, he's got some really nice looking fruit on him. These guys haven't split, unlike some I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, really impressed with that plant. In here I did have a squash as well, you may remember. I took it out. It was just having issues with powdery mildew, so we decided to take him out. And the ginger in there is looking pretty damn smart, I think. And over here the turmeric, same thing's happening, it's starting to die off, so it'll probably get harvested soon. Just in this next bed down in here we had parsley, flat leaf parsley go to seed in here. I collected a lot and sprinkled it through the aquaponics. Not much has turned up in here, mainly because I think the chickens scratched it out last time they were out. And we do have a little bit down this end, along with what looks like a Warrigal spinach, or New Zealand spinach. It's popped up in there. I had some okra. This is a spineless, mammoth spineless, I think. I popped some seeds in, maybe a bit too late, and I did notice yesterday when I came down, before the rain really hammered, that we had some aphids on here, so I've got to spray those guys. We've got some amaranth just sprouting up out of nowhere, and down here we have a couple of purple broccolis, collies, sorry, so they look relatively bug-free. Just down in our next bed we have a resowing of Warrigal greens, just happened naturally. That took over this whole bed and probably grew into the one next door. That's what, there's that little seedling. We have some red sorrel down the red vein sorrel here, over there, and just over on the corner there. That keeps popping back whenever it cools down. It does really well in the soil. Over in the aquaponics it grows all year round, so it's just one of those crops that doesn't handle the heat too well here. And these yellow cherry tomatoes, these guys I'm pretty much all just feeding to the chickens at the moment. We haven't had much salad this week, so the chickens have been getting a lot of the ripe ones as they come through. The mouse melons, or Mexican midget melons that were growing up over the top of here, I actually pulled that plant out because it was starting to shade a lot of the mesh up here, growing right out over the hoop house, and I really didn't want it to shade these beds during winter, because we are coming into winter here now in the southern hemisphere. So he came out. This bed here is supposed to be a galangal garden, but as you can see we have the ever-present broad ripple yellow currant tomatoes come through. We have sweet potato from years ago when it was planted in this bed, and over the back we've got some wild amaranth and some Tagus minuta, or stinking Roger. It's this plant here. So it's a Peruvian, or black mint. In Peru they make a sauce out of this, so it's good for treating nematodes, root knot nematodes as well. But anyway, the purpose of this bed here is to start up a new bunch of galangal. So this is one we grew from seed, and this is one I harvested a little bit for a meal, a curry, and I just popped the little bit of rhizome in there that was shooting just to see if it would take off. Just in the chicken's pen, I did have all intentions to do a chicken update clip, but it hasn't happened yet. Just to show you, we've had the green feeder going again, and it looks like the rain's just knocked all the greens over, so I'm going to have to open that up, and yeah, we'll sow out a new bunch of wheatgrass for the girls, but I'll do another update at another time on all the chickens. This is the Chooks self-service tomato bar. Normally what happens is I like it to grow over the roof, so I can give the roof a bit of a shake and tomatoes fall down. Also too, when the cage is up on the green feeder, they can hop up on there and feed off any tomatoes. There are some growing through the back into the cage, just need to give them a bit of a flick and they come off for the girls. Some of these larger ones though, we like to keep for ourselves. There's some really nice tomatoes growing on this, but as you can see, there's one of the effects of all the rain. We've had some of this fruit split. It hasn't happened on the red berries, or the red cherries, sorry, but on these yellows, yeah, it's definitely affected these guys a lot more. But you know, I think the chooks will still like that. Toss it in there for when they get back. So there you go folks, I hope you like that wander around the mini urban farm we've got on the go here. Production wise, I didn't really cover that in the clip. We've been getting loads, and I mean loads, of Okinawan spinach. It's not a true spinach by the way. Tastes fantastic, a cross between carrot and lettuce, believe it or not. Well, we've been getting loads from a little barrel at the front of the entranceway to this section of the garden. I didn't show that before, but it's been producing loads and loads of greens for us. Also too, the stuff in the aquaponics is just blowing me away. The plants in there have a larger leaf, and production wise outstrip the soil stuff by miles. I've actually got some cuttings up in the house I'm going to put in the new media bed, so hopefully they'll take off. But yeah, we've been harvesting truckloads of that, along with the basil and the flat leaf parsley, having that in a lot of salads with couscous, and just as a mixed leafy salad as well, so really chuffed with that. Tomatoes, a lot of the small broad ripple yellow currants from the bed over the back that I showed you, a couple from the Chooks plant, hope they don't mind, and also two from the red vine up there as well, a fair few from that. The eggplants, I've been splitting them down the centre and just pan frying them with a bit of garlic, absolutely great tucker. But yeah, that's pretty much all the harvest from the patch. Updates, I've got chickens scratching in a bed beside me, I'll let them go, hey. Updates, I'll do an update on the aquaponics soon, and also one on the naughty chickens as well, and give you a look at what's been going on with those girls. So if you do like that walk around the garden, stick around and check out some of our other clips. A great way to be kept up on what we're posting here with videos is to subscribe. You can find a little button down in the corner there, you can subscribe, and that'll just give you emails to let you know when new clips are published. Also too, I'll actually, because I didn't show you a lot of the fish, I'll go up and feed them and give you a bit of a look at that. And also there's a little bit of a photo at the end there just to celebrate the 2nd of May. So hope you enjoy the clip folks, and I'll let you go, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, any comments, questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you where I can. Cheers folks. So these are the jade perch in the aquaponics system. Not too sure if they'll put on a show. There's a camera in the way, so we'll see if they come up. There we go. These guys are doing really well since the move. Oi, getting a bit boisterous, girls. We're going to polish all that off, give them a bit more. So there you go, folks. Have a great one.